Well, it's the interview that's dominated football discourse since the Premier League packed up. I have just watched Cristiano Ronaldo on Piers Morgan. And here is my take. Give us a like and get your thoughts in on Ronaldo, Manchester United and Piers, if you like, via the comments. Master Drama Queen. Now, if Ronaldo is a true master of football, then Piers Morgan is a true master drama queen. And I do mean that in a good way. Within seconds of this show opening, we get football megastar, greatest player ever to play the game, one of the most famous people on the planet, toughest year of his life. Most of the questions seem to contain the word extraordinary or incredible within them. And the preview for the second part was hyped as, of course, explosive. Now, we are taught when we're in primary school, when we're writing stories, to use exaggeration for effect. But I'm already on my guard for things to be hyped up, let's just say, from the word go and throughout this interview. Pandering to the fans. It's usually a smart position to side with supporters. I'm always going to say good about them, and they're the most important football thing, said Ronaldo. You play for them. Now look, these are nice sentiments, but it's not true, is it? Ronaldo is world famous for having levels of motivation and drive beyond most we've seen. And like most of these crazy high achievers, his motivation is himself, and satiating their own self-obsession comes first and foremost. Bit of further fluffing came as well on turning down Manchester City out of loyalty for United. Everything was the same, progress was zero. Now, Ronaldo says that since leaving Manchester United 13 years ago, nothing has changed at Old Trafford, whether it's the infrastructure, technology, the gym, the kitchen, the chefs, it's all the same. Now, he may have a valid point here. I haven't seen the facilities in either 22 or either 2009. But look, in an ideal world, this is an in-house discussion and perhaps some feedback on what Real Madrid and Juventus have been doing could be useful to the Manchester United higher ups. Obviously, if it is said publicly in this type of forum, it does position Ronaldo as the professional and the club as being behind the times. Not good. I never saw him as a boss. Poor old Ralph Rangnick gets well and truly obliterated in this interview. Look, perhaps he was an easy target, but it's fairly obvious that working for most of a season under a manager whom he didn't consider fit for purpose has wound Cristiano Ronaldo up a fair bit. Ronaldo claimed Rangnick was a sporting director, not a coach, and that nobody had heard of him prior to his arrival. Now, again, he might have a point, and it might be an honestly held opinion, but it all further hypes up the division and the idea that Ronaldo was a ticking time bomb prior to this season. I love Solskjaer. Cristiano now doubles down on the managerial situation being a big problem by backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, calling him a top person, saying he loves him and saying he did a good job and he needed more time. Now, of the three bosses he's had since his return to Old Trafford, it's fairly obvious that Cristiano Ronaldo was happiest under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now, I'm sure we'll get comments saying Ronaldo liked Solskjaer because he was probably, frankly, more powerful than him in terms of his reputation as a player versus Ole's as a manager. I wasn't there, but I can totally see that being the case. They don't care. Now, he did answer this one carefully, Ronaldo, saying it's not their fault and didn't make it specifically about the Manchester United young players, but he did say that the younger generation of footballers do not have the hunger or the suffering that Ronaldo's generation did. Although he does big up Diego Dallo, though, as a good professional at Manchester United. He'll have a spring in his step after hearing that. Look, there's always a tension between one generation and the next and the right way to do things. And although both sides normally have a point, when it comes to someone with Ronaldo's accomplishments, even though some of those he's referring to will also go on to greatness, it is quite hard not to side with the Portuguese great on matters of application and working towards career achievements. The worst moment of my life. Now, this segment was quite hard to watch. This was a reference to one of Ronaldo's twins passing away during his partner's labour. Obviously not good to hear about, especially myself having become a father last year. Almost worth keeping this bit separate from the football stuff, especially with what we know about Ronaldo's strong mentality. Obviously, I'm hugely sympathetic, as I'm sure we all are. Erik ten Hag. Now, I'm no body language aficionado, but as soon as Ten Hag's name is mentioned, there is this palpable, awkward twitch. There's a head scratch, a look away, an adjustment of his jacket, and a bit of a short answer. I think that says a lot immediately about that particular dynamic and what I suspect we're going to hear about Ten Hag in part 2 of this interview. They are not my friends. Now, social media, fame and criticism all seem to get bundled up into one answer here. Piers Morgan does a lot of flattery of Ronaldo with his social media numbers and then hits him with the Wayne Rooney and Gary Neville criticism. He seemed a bit more hurt by Rooney as they appeared to still have some kind of family connections away from football. Gary Neville, he seemed less bothered about. Much happier with Rio Ferdinand and Roy Keane, who have been sort of more standing up for him in the media. I guess this is a kind of loyalty versus free speech honesty type situation. I'd imagine Rooney and Neville have expressed their honestly held views, which is their right, but of course, with all speech, it comes with the consequence that might break some kind of bond that was formed back as footballers together. What I would push back against is Ronaldo's assertion that they're deliberately using his name. Anybody, and I have, who's done work in football media will know that you are constantly asked to write and talk about the people who get the most traction, the most clicks. So I do not blame the pundits if they're constantly asked for answering the questions. Each to their own, really. I guess I do respect people who openly say what's on their mind, but I do understand that others want to keep the bond back from the playing days. My personal take, look, sounds like I'm sitting on the fence, but it depends on the situation. And I can be particularly outspoken if I feel motivated to be so. That's my take on the first half of the Piers Morgan Ronaldo interview. Let me know yours down there in the comments. I found it pretty interesting and entertaining. I'm looking forward to the second part. And do let me know if you'd like me to break that one down too in the same way as I've done part 1. Speaking of breaking things down, I took a good old look at England's potential route through, hopefully, the World Cup yesterday. Click up here to see where things might be headed, hopefully not headed south in a gnarly looking potential quarter-final.